call the meeting and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, with the normal order of business, public comment, I see no public, so we'll be moving on to reports. Building, Aaron.
Yes, so there were 7 residential permits issued, no commercial planning and zoning, 1 new complaint was received from Remedy, 1 ongoing complaint against their application of the planning board, 4 title searches, 7 COCCs issued that were residential, 6 commercial, 9 permit inspections, 2 complaint inspections, and 1,818 payments received.
Very good. Any questions for Aaron? Just so everybody's aware, Melanie's, she's out of town, I'm sorry. She's down Long Island until Thursday, just so you're aware of that.
Thanks.
Aaron, thank you. Please, Joe.
So we completed, all except 1 officers completed their annual firearms training. We're currently in the middle of an IDC instructor course for 2 of our members. That'll finish up this week. Our online training through NeoGov has been assigned and due dates were set for early in 2026 for the 2026 calendar year. Recruitment, I am going down to Zone 14 next week to meet with the class, the current recruit class, because there is a handful of members that do not have agencies for phase 2. So I'm going to see if we can hop on that. In the month of October, big thing was Halloween. We did Halloween. It was a good night. No major issues other than the wind blowing. We also had the drug take-back day, which was good. I think we had 55 pounds total, but I'll check that for next month. Coming up in the month of November, we have the Interfaith service at St. James. We have the turkey trot, and then we have barrier training that has been scheduled. That's the last piece of our service that comes with the barriers that we got. So I sent that out to a bunch of department heads as well as some other agencies that may utilize it to come and see how to set the barriers up. This training is going to be more concepts and how you're supposed to deploy them than how they physically work. So my numbers are attached, and that's it.
Any questions for Joe?
Joe, with the barriers, if I have some agencies up my way where I work that would like to come, should I have them reach out to you?
Yeah, have them reach out. We have, I think we can do up to 30 people, but I don't see that being a problem. Yeah.
It's good training.
Yeah.
All right, Chief Barnes.
Fire report, everybody should have it. Covers the gist of it. For the month, we had 10 alarms this month. The alarm volume thankfully slowed down in October from earlier in the year. Some highlights. So this past month, unusually, we responded to 2 serious accidents on the New York State Thruway. We generally don't, but there's becoming probably more of a call for that. So that's something we'll monitor, and it has to do with our neighboring agencies and the mutual aid plan that we're mandated to partake in. So that's the Thruway doesn't run through our district, but it's in our neighboring district within the township of Chatham. So if we get called, we do respond there. Past month, we did complete several drills, some good ones. One in particular, a highlight. We did a large mutual aid joint, I'll call it the mutual aid drill, with 4 departments. It was Chatham, Kent, East Chatham, and Tri-Village, all the neighbors and it was a large extrication car accident drill. Really good, well attended. We got a lot of good feedback, and we hosted it here. It was 5 hours long. The guys stayed the whole time. The highlight was we had a hot dog cart. So, you know, that always helps. October was Fire Prevention Month, so we did our annual large fire prevention day at the MED. This year, the highlight was there's 400 people inside the MED school between students and staff. The entire school was able to evacuate in 1 minute and 12 seconds. So that's all good stuff. Our training's working there. Expenses this month, Trish can attest to this, but Melanie and John are well aware. We had an expensive month for equipment this month, so just touch on that. 5822, one of our frontline engines, had to have some work done on it, mandatory work, to get it back in shape. That's been repaired, it's back in service. And then also in the past month, we had to have all 50 of our Scott SCBA packs hydro tested. That only happens every 5 years. So this was the year that they had to be done. So there was 2 large expenses there. Let's just move on. Due to some safety and security concerns, I won't get into the details being in an open meeting, but the surveillance system security cameras have been installed in and around the fire station. They're up and operational. This past month, we were able to graduate 3 new graduates from fire school. That's a long, arduous class now. It's 130 hours. It's a lot for volunteers to get through. But we graduated 3 more students this month, so they're fully certified as firefighters. Near us, just a quick heads up here, and this will affect Des. I'll have to bring her up to speed at a later time. The federal government in New York State are changing their fire reporting system. In their infinite wisdom, they decided the system that was working fine needed to change. So they've completely changed the entire reporting system across the country, which has finally dribbled down to us. So we're going through a bunch of classes. I have to go to meetings. I've been going to 3 or 4 now to learn how to use this new portal system online. Anyways, where it affects the villages is it's going to affect the way we do our fire reports and how we do them. And after January 1st, if there's a FOIL request, it's going to take a little bit for us to learn how to figure that out. So there might be a little bit of a hang up there, just in case you get a request for one, because the whole system's changing. We used to be able to have these reports locally, and if somebody foiled one, I could produce it within hours. But now it's got to go through the federal government. Anyways, so we'll get through that. Firehouse rental policy, I don't have an update except for the fact that I can tell you tonight there's a meeting. The fire department council will be meeting later. I can report on it at next month's meeting. But the rental policy at the fire station will be changed and effective tonight after this meeting. And then the last thing I'll report on is just a personnel membership thing. We did have a member resign this month. George Lucas resigned from the Ocean Fire Company 1. That's all I'll report now.
Thank you, Eric. Any questions for Eric? Just to add to, it's the time of year we do fire contracts for the town of Chatham, town of Ghent, and the town of Kinderhook. We negotiated those contracts. We're still waiting on the town of Ghent and the town of Chatham. We asked for 3%. There's no reason to believe that we won't get it. Kinderhook has already sent, and it's one of the resolutions later on, their contract is signed. They're way ahead of things. We asked for 4%, they gave us 6%. Don't complain. And this is the second year in a row they've given us more than what we requested. So that's good stuff. DPW, did everybody get the report rather than read it all? I don't know whether all did, it came in late this afternoon.
Yeah.
One thing I just want to touch on, I can't find a little humorous, but I have to pick on Phil a little bit. Leaf collection. Leaf truck has been on parole, collecting piles regularly throughout the village. I think it's patrol, but parole's kind of fitting. Yeah, I mean, because it's getting that time of year where they've had enough, so he's put the truck on parole. And you can see the rest of it, it's some, seasonal type stuff. And next week he's looking at installing the Christmas decorations, taking down the American flags, and he's got some street lights to repair in the depot parking lot. Sewer upgrades, we finally finished the UV project. I guess everything's been accepted. I haven't read more of Ralph. If you have, I haven't. And he actually attached a fecal report if somebody would like to read it for a test. He had to put it in there. It's up and running. They've run some tests. That was a project that was 2 years in the makings, and it got extended a little bit. I think that'll keep DEC happy. Any questions, DPW? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the minutes of October 14th. And a second?
Second.
All in favor? I need a motion to approve the minutes, or budget action, I'm sorry, for October 2025. Motion?
Motion.
A second. Second. We'll move it. I'm not going to read these resolutions, you got them in front of you. Resolution 162 of 2025 to amend the budget for the use of unappropriated fund balance to reflect the increase in the water fund transmission contractual line. Can I get a motion? Motion. And a second.
Second.
And what that does, if you look at the note at the very end, this resolution wipes out the board assigned in the unappropriated funds for meter replacement projects. So if at any point in time the board would like to resolve and assign more money to this project, we would just need a resolution to do that. This is a project we took on a year ago after Garden Homes. We thought it was going to be a 3-year project to change these water meters out. Phil is really knocking them out of the park. So he's used up some of that money that was set aside. So as we go forward, we'll probably have to reach into the unappropriated fund balance to fund some more of that. But he's really knocking it out of the park. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 163 to authorize the mayor to sign CDPHP small group recertification for dental. Goes from January 2026 to December 31st. This is to certify that we're eligible for small group rates. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
The second?
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
164 to authorize the mayor to sign MVP New York State small group recertification for medical health insurance. And again, for the same reason. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
The second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
165 to approve the renewal of MVP Liberty Silver 3, which is effective January 1st at an annual premium of $147,160. That's an increase of $17,120, 13.2% over the existing plan. The renewal of the current plan with the same benefits, the deductibles increased a little bit. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Desiree, Trish, Aaron, Kyle Baruch's wife was here. Brown & Brown, our broker, was here to explain all this, the ins and outs of this particular health insurance. It's the same plan, it's increased about 13% last year. I don't know where this is going to end. Kyle is currently one of the only ones that is contributing towards, Desiree and Sam also contribute towards their health insurance. So they had an opportunity to see what it was all about. And that's kind of where we're at. We're obligated by contract to offer this in-kind insurance. We can't offer a lesser insurance to our contractual employees. We wouldn't do it to anybody else. So that's where we're at. So I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
166 to approve additional medical health insurance plan known as Proposal Option 2. And what this is, it's a lesser program. It could reduce the employees that contribute if they wish to do that. The benefits differ from the existing plan. We can offer it, they can accept it. If they don't want to, they can stick with the plan we have. We're just offering another option for the people that contribute. So if I can get a motion in a second.
Second.
All in favor? 167, approve the renewal of the CDPHP Delta Dental at an annual premium of $8,663.28 with no change in benefits and no increase in premium. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second. All in favor? 168, authorize the mayor to sign an agreement for administrative services, health reimbursement account renewal between Brown and Brown. That's a contract we have with Brown and Brown. It's $3 an employee is what we pay. Brown and Brown to look after our health insurance. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
In a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
169, author cabin to use the gazebo in the Tracy Memorial on 12/13 to 25 from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. for Winterfest. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? 170, approve the Village of Chatham, the adoption of the Columbia County multi-jurisdictional natural hazard mitigation plan. It's a 5-year update revised in June of 2025. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
In a second.
Second.
In order for us to be in line for FEMA reimbursements, we have to buy into this program. It's something we've been involved in for many years. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? 171, to authorize the mayor to sign an undertaking for the benefit of the New York State Department of Transportation in connection with work affecting state highways. Can I get a motion? In a second.
Second.
This is something that long-term, we've been doing this for many years. It basically allows us to work on a state right away. All in favor? I wasn't going to read that one, me. Resolution 172 to authorize Shabbat of Columbia County to hold the public menorah lighting on the front steps of the Tracy on December 21st, 3:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. according to the fully executed Chatham event agreement. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
In a second.
Second.
Any questions?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 173 to adjust compensation benefits for the building inspector code enforcement position to reflect hourly pay as opposed to salary and benefits eligibility according to the approved Village of Chatham compensation and benefits manual. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
In a second.
Second.
So what this is doing is Erin works 16 hours a week. She's salaried now. By making her an hourly employee, she's going to pick up some more hours. She's going to go to 20 hours, which if anybody's been following this planning stuff in the last month or two, she's working way more than 20
Yeah.
hours on top of her other job. This will also put her in a position to be able to, we'd be able to allow her health insurance, which she currently does not have. So that's kind of where we're going. So can I get a motion?
Motion.
In a second.
Second.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? She does a great job. I think it's important we support our staff. And Lord knows if you've been looking at some of these emails, it's crazy in the last month.
Yeah.
So, Resolution 174, to authorize the mayor to sign the Town of Kennewick Fire Protection Contract for $19,313, 6% over last year. Motion? Motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor? This next resolution we're going to table. We have some reserve funds that were set up back in 2019, 22. And we're not sure how they were done, whether they were done exactly the way they should have been. Ken had an emergency tonight, he couldn't be here. He had some verbiage he wanted to change this resolution. Basically what it amounts to, he wants to move those reserves into the unappropriated fund balance, but yet be able to use them for what their intent was. Originally, it's just some legalese. The fact that he's not here, I'm going to table that. The next resolution kind of goes along with that. It's 176 to authorize CFD to sell as surplus the 1998 GMC 3500 frontline brush mini pumper truck and replace it by purchasing a new brush truck in the amount not to exceed $100,000. Can I get a motion? Motion. In a second.
Second.
And what this is, it kind of goes with the motion in front of it, just because it's time sensitive. they have an opportunity, there's some chassis out there, year-end chassis, that are very good, very well priced. So this would allow them to continue to do that research. It's not gonna happen overnight. They still have to come back to us to get final approval and all that stuff. But that money that is in the reserve is $103,000. It's gonna get moved into the unappropriate fund balance with a tag on it for basically the fire department. There's also money in the reserve for the DPW for pavement rehabilitation. Same thing, it's gonna get moved into unappropriate. Phil will be able to touch that. There was two reserve funds set up for the Tracy, some rehabilitation. That's going in unappropriate. That'll be able to be tagged by Desiree through her budget to continue doing some of the things they're doing. So it kind of gives you where we're at. But unfortunately, Ken's not here to be able to do that one resolution to change the reserves. So that's it about the truck. Go ahead.
One question about the truck, it's a four-door?
I have no idea, we haven't even got to.
Oh, okay.
The plan would be yes, but
Because I've been in, obviously, the
I
current
mean,
one, it's like.
the hope and goal would be, seeing where the future's going, is yes for manpower, 4 doors, and the hope and goal is to replace it with something similar to run all of the calls. That truck runs more calls than any other truck, and it's 20-some years old, so.
The other part of this is they're gonna do a lot of this work in-house. We have a lot of talent here. You go out and spec one of these trucks, you're talking $300,000 or $400,000. If they feel they can do it for $100,000, and Phil's pretty talented with Andy and Eric's leadership, they can save this village a lot of money and put us in a good spot. So that's kind of where that's at. So, all in favor?
Aye.
So items for discussion, fire safety plan. We had Labella's look at things when we were talking about the fire escape. They came back with a proposal. I'm not real fond on, I mean, it was a little bit of money. Some of the stuff Aaron can do, but there's some things there that there's some validity to what they can do. I want to take another look at that. I don't want to vote on anything tonight. I just want to let you know where we're at. We haven't moved on it. I can't remember what the cost was. It was $10,000, $15,000 or something. I think something that we can do now. So that's just to give you an idea where that's at. Public safety building project. I'll let Ralph comment on this, but Ralph was out of town. We had a Zoom meeting with Labella's 2 weeks ago. The original architect that did this, the station study 2022, whatever, Dan Peters was on, a number of principals with Labella's. We bounced a lot of things around. We're talking public safety versus fire station, which we talked about 2022. So we kind of changed things up a little bit. Joe was on the Zoom call. Dan did send back a proposal with some ideas of what they could do for a cost of $19,000. You remember that Ralph, we'd set RFPs out for architects to give us some preliminary work. They came in at $68,000. This is at $19,000, with the idea that they want to talk to Ralph because they felt that Ralph's done a lot of work and continues to do, and I'll let him comment on that in a minute, that $19,000 number could come down. They would compensate, take in consideration what Ralph's done, work collaboratively, collectively, and possibly move this. So I'm going to just kind of table that. They gave us a proposal. That gives Ralph time to meet with our fire guys and our police guys next week, or this week, to look at some of his plans. We'll get back together with Labella's and say, look, this is where we're at. Take another look at that number. And I think they'll be able to do maybe some of the building design. But Ralph, go ahead. What you got?
Yeah, I think the role Labella's may be able to play in this is the cost estimating. We're going to need to get some decent numbers to figure out what we need to spend on the exact building. I've met with Joe this past week on the police end of the law enforcement for the fires for the public safety building. Had a good meeting with Joe. So I'm working on the drawings. I also have a meeting with Eric and Phil and Andy drawings done for the one-story public safety building, and I'm actually working on drawings for a two-story public safety building. So I'll have those drawings. The two stories should be ready. The one story is ready now. The two story I should have ready for the Wednesday meetings so we can discuss those. There's pros and cons to both of those concepts. The one story is just all spread out, and so it gets interesting in how much space it takes up. You know, we're talking public safety, so there's the police component in there, trying to get enough space for their cars, for their people, and to attach it all to one building, and then looking at a two-story to see if we could stack something on top of each other to save in energy costs and maybe some building costs there, foundation, stuff like that. That's where Lobellas comes in there, where they can talk to us a little bit more about cost analysis for a one-story versus a two-story, whether energy and stuff like that comes into play in any of that design. So there are parts and pieces Lobella can help us with. Basically, we'll just keep rolling along. I anticipate meeting Wednesday and then following up probably another week and a half after I get comments back from your guys on the fire side and figuring out a plan that we can actually take and bring to the table here so that the rest of us can take a look at and see what we think as a group here. And so we'll just keep moving that along. And I think, so we got Thanksgiving coming up and we have Christmas. I'm hoping by Christmas to have something that relatively concrete that we're all agreeing upon, but you know, that just depends on how these meetings go forward. And then we'll have to talk a little bit about public meetings also. And I have some ideas around that. And eventually we have to get down to starting to look at sites. So that'll be the top part, I think. The village is kind of landlocked in terms of what's available around here. I know John is beating the bush trying to find pieces of property that we might be able to fit. So we'll see how that goes. But I think over the next 2 months, we should be moving right along with the design of the new facility. Anybody have questions?
Does the two-story concept have a fire pole?
Are there any other comments?
But, you know, there's always that possibility.
What they're doing now, Desiree, is they're building slides.
I'll say this, as the fire chief's professional opinion, if you understood our general median age, we are more likely to install a chairlift.
Or something at the bottom to catch everything.
Well, I was thinking liability, you know, like.
Any other questions?
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rob.
That was great.
It is, it's good stuff. The next item was investigating the possibility of using interns for scanning of village documents. I know Joe has had a conversation in the office with Des, Sam, and Aaron. We do have the ability, Trish is way ahead of everybody on this. She's scanning all her stuff. We have this program to scan and archive all, and we've got like rooms full of stuff. And we just can't seem to get to the point where we're even doing any of this. Joe's got some ideas on his side, possibly using college kids on a break. And you guys jump in, I know Joe, you got some ideas.
Yeah, yep. So chatting with the office staff, you know, I'm looking at, there's a fella coming back from military training end of January. He's got a gap before he goes to college of like 8 months. So, you know, I was going to utilize him in a couple different avenues, and then we got into that conversation, and you know, there's some other college students that had breaks during, you know, December and January that might be able to help the building department and the clerk's office get a jump start on their scanning. And for everything we scan, there's a lot of stuff that we can get rid of, which makes it easier when we go to rehab that downstairs and, you know, we don't have to, you know, dry out the boxes and stuff and put them somewhere, so. Yeah, so there's, from a civil service perspective, you know, we are a municipality, there's a title called typist, that's a non-competitive title that we can hire a temp employee under, that wouldn't require a test to allow them to, work for the village for any period of time that the board seems fit. You know,
And I want to take it a step further is, in Joe's case, you know, it totally makes sense, and then for the office staff also. And use Trish as an example, but she jumped into this and really getting, she needs help on her side also, so it's a group effort. I would even take it a step further in summertime if we can get some high school kids, whether they're 16, 17, 18, or maybe not even a college kid. Years ago, they had some summer programs and the DPW hired high school kids, seniors going into college to do weed whacking and, you know, painting fire hydrants and stuff. And we have laborers that are doing that now, but, you know, it gives a kid 2 months of a little pocket change, and maybe something, an intern, come to work in the office, somebody that may aspire at some point to get into government, or you know, not necessarily scan for the rest of your life, but, you know, see somebody there working to the day-to-day operations. So it's something I think we discussed tonight, but I'd like to have you guys all pursue that, and then come back with a plan, and sooner rather than later, we'll figure it out. I think it's a good idea.
You know, if you can't find kids, there might be some seniors that
Yeah.
would be interested in just coming in and help out, do stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because we can't bring somebody on full-time, obviously.
Yeah.
But at the same time, everybody's desk here is full, and it's like, well, we gotta get to go scan, but they just never get over that hurdle. And we might better just bring somebody in, put them to work for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and see what we can do. All right, Santa's Parade, you can see that. They're jacking us up a little bit. I guess we're gonna have a parade of lights. You know, I haven't heard much. DPW, they're talking 11, 18 and 19, putting the decorations up. I talked about that. And the KISS document shredding, Q4 will be December 8th to the 19th. Are there any questions? Anything else? We got a notification today, police contract's up. Like the Delgado would like us to give them a call and see if we can't sit down and have a get together. So we'll talk about that. That's normal business this time of year. Theirs is a 3-year contract, yours is 2. We offset them last year, right? Or 2
ours is, supervisors is 4 years.
4 years, okay, but they alternate. One's
Yeah.
1 year next year.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions, anything else come up before the meeting? Hearing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
A second. Okay.